Hello Cobra fam, welcome back to yet another video. In this video, we have a lot of things to cover. Actually, crypto market is pumping here on a Sunday, which I love to see. As we spoke about in yesterday's live stream and on Friday's video, we are speaking about this 0.31 Fibonacci. But before we jump into the analysis, I just want to clarify something which I already said in yesterday's live stream, but I want to clarify it here for those who missed the live. So what I said here on Friday's video, I said that there's a possibility that Bitcoin has finished the fifth wave. People said, Cobra, you can't flip here. All of a sudden you've been bullish here. Why are you saying the fifth wave is in? That's not what I said. I said there's a possibility that basically this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this could happen. The same way Bitcoin could do this tomorrow, the same way Bitcoin could drop to zero tomorrow, the same way we can continue going sideways. It's a market, anything can happen. All I was saying here that in hindsight, this could be a possible fifth wave that has finished. That's not what I think. I do think Bitcoin has much higher to go, and I don't think the fifth wave is in, but I'm saying there's a possibility. And in hindsight, this would not look too bad to have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an ABC. This would be Elliott wave textbook perfect. Basically Elliott wave count. That's all I said on Friday's video. Just want to clarify that. I don't think personally the fifth wave is in. I do think we have higher to go. So let's jump into the shorter time frame analysis and see what exactly is Cobra looking at right now. So as you guys know, we have been speaking about this 0.5 line of our macro pitchfork holding here. So we can see we're about to get the weekly close in around 7 hours. So I said, ideally for me to remain bullish on Bitcoin, I want us to remain above the 0.5 line here. This is why I'm still keeping my long open here from 58K, 59K, which we opened here back in September. I'm keeping my long here because so far I don't see any reason to invalidate basically my macro pitchfork that we have here. So this is a macro pitchfork from the C19 lows, bull market top, previous bear market lows here. So there's still possibility for Bitcoin to bounce here and then continue to the upside to the median line on the macro time frame. So that's what we've been looking at the moment. Something which we covered in yesterday's video, which we said here, we pulled here from the fourth wave here from the bottom to the all-time highs. I was looking at the 0.31. You guys know that I love the 0.31 Fibonacci, the only Fibonacci tool I'm using apart from the minus 0.236, but that's why you can see only 2 fibs I'm using on the charts because these are the only 2 fibs actually I've seen work on a longer term. These are heavily used by algorithms, and we can see right now I was waiting basically for the weekly close, candle close to close above the 0.31. So my target was around 85.5, 85.6K for Bitcoin to close above for me to remain bullish. So far we can see we're getting a nice pump here. So it looks like, of course, I don't want to get ahead of myself. We still have 7 hours left, as we can see here, until the weekly candle close. But I really love what I'm seeing right now. So far, I'm remaining bullish here, remaining in my long. If we start getting a weekly close here below the 0.31 and even worse, below the 0.5 line here, so let's say a weekly close below 82K, I'll be locking in profits and basically exiting all my long position from Bitcoin basically, and maybe then we can entertain if the bull market is over. But as of for now, my basically analysis remains the same. So we can zoom in here on the daily time frame. So let's come in here on the daily time frame. Let's remove this long position here for a second. On the daily time frame, we also had the idea basically that we are in a macro fifth wave here. Right now we're trying to predict where the exact fifth wave is going to finish. And we have on the daily time frame another Elliott wave count we'll be speaking about on this channel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's make this, for example, let's make it red. So this has been our secondary Elliott wave count here. So this is not invalidated at all because the 0.31 has been holding. Before we're looking from the second wave here basically, but you can also use the first wave here. So far, yes, we did cut through it on the daily, but the weekly has been holding the 0.31. So far, I think this could be a very, very valid Elliott wave count. I'm not going to right now predict what's going to happen the next 5 months into the future. I'm not, because if we don't get up here, yes, in that case I'll be wrong, but what I'm saying, this could be a very possible fourth wave forming here, which I'm going to discuss in a second. We're going to take a look at another millionaire strategy here. I want to discuss here some amazing alpha, which I believe you won't really find anywhere else on YouTube. But this is basically my daily chart here on Bitcoin. We have to see right now how the weekly close is going to close, but so far it's looking good. And if we close above here on the weekly, I'll be very, very open here to start entering some longs here on Bitcoin, trying to catch the next move to the upside. Maybe try to enter here with a tighter stop loss. I'll keep the VIP members updated how I'm going to play this. So these are the things we're looking at. No reason to yet flip bearish as long as we get the weekly close here above 85.6k, it will be looking good. We can zoom in even shorter time frame here on the 4-hour time frame we spoke about in yesterday's live stream. I said it looks like Bitcoin is forming some kind of inverse head and shoulders here, and right now that's what it looks like. We're breaking to the upside. And what's the next resistance we're looking at on Bitcoin? Of course, we're using the 0.31 Fibonacci as we always use. So how we draw it, we basically draw it the opposite. So we draw it from the all-time highs to the recent lows. We're using the 0.31, which Bitcoin has broken. This on the logarithmic scale, and on the normal scale, we're broken above it. So this is a major bullish sign you want to see on the short time frame. We are through the most important resistance here on Bitcoin, which allows us to draw another pitchfork. So we have broken the 0.31 here. Very, very important. This allows us here to come on Bitcoin and draw another pitchfork, which I think you guys are going to like. So the pitchfork we're drawing, we take here from the fourth wave basically, or let's add our second Elliott wave count here. So we draw it like this basically. So we draw it from the first wave here on our smaller time frame count to the third wave down to the fourth wave. And this is my current pitchfork on Bitcoin. I can officially say right now, this is my next target on Bitcoin. I'm not going to make predictions for 150k or 500k here, even though that's our macro target. We have to see. We're going to take it one day at a time. We can remove this one for a second, but this is my official pitchfork right now on Bitcoin. So what I'm aiming at here is this pitchfork. We're using the shift one, as I said, and we're looking at around 96,000. Of course, this doesn't mean Bitcoin is going to go straight up here. We could even come back down here, do something like that before we go higher, but this would be the next target. And I really like this median line here because we have a very nice supply zone as well. The supply zone, we can see here price going sideways before a major move to the downside. So the way I'll draw my supply zone is something like this. I'll draw it here, which correlates. You could even make it bigger here. It depends how kind of you want to draw it. I will draw it something like this. So this would be very, very great resistance. 95, or let's call it 96k, is going to be extremely strong resistance for Bitcoin, which is going to be very important for us to break. But of course, we have to see once we get there. But I wouldn't be surprised we see something like this on Bitcoin before we continue the trend to the upside and we head towards 96k. And then we can talk about shorting or closing longs, hedging short, or let's see how then we're going to play that move. But so also for now, I believe the direction is to the upside as long as we can close above 85.6k on the weekly candle, which most likely we're going to close here because it's just a few hours left until the weekly close. So this is my outlook at the moment. This is a new pitchfork I'm officially drawing here. I'll keep you guys updated how price develops, but this is my official next target for Bitcoin. Let's jump into some juicy parts here I wanted to cover here. So I'm going to dive, I know you guys mainly follow me for the pitchforks, but my old followers, or I think most of you guys know I love the 0.31, and I want to explain to you exactly why. This is the weekly chart here on Bitcoin. This is a bit different. So I'm using the normal chart here. I'm not using the logarithmic chart. We're right now on the linear chart. That's why it looks slightly different. So the way I'm using it, we're pulled the Fib from the complete bear market lows to the bull market top. And this Fibonacci here, basically, let's remove the Elliott wave count here. It basically predicted the lows here kind of accurately, around 80k. Bitcoin overshoot it a little bit to 78k, but more or less if you had bought here, you would be in profit. And of course, every trading strategy is nothing without risk management and so on, but I just wanted to share with you why I'm using the 0.31, why I don't use any other Fibonacci. I know other traders use different Fibonaccis. I believe this is the best one, and I'm going to show you why. So every time, if you come here on the linear scale, every time Bitcoin has formed the high, what you can do is use the bear market lows to the bull market top. So let's see here in the past, let's go back in time here. When Bitcoin made its first high here, we had from the bear market, Bitcoin had this pump to 24k. So what do we do back here basically? You pull from the bear market lows to the recent highs here. And we can see we had the first bounce here from the 0.31. So here would have been your first time to leverage buy Bitcoin. For example, you open long here. Look how that would have aged. You would have caught an amazing pump to the upside right at the lows at the 0.31. And once again, every time Bitcoin basically makes a new high, we need to readjust the pitchfork. Then we made a new high here. We got a small bounce, then we broke through it. It's not always going to bounce from the 0.31, of course. Then we can see again here, Bitcoin made another new high here. You pull from the bear market lows to the high here. Once again, you enter at the 0.31. I'm talking about trading right now. You'd have caught a massive green candle to the upside. Once again, Bitcoin goes up here, makes another high. This was back in January. So this was when I started my channel. We spoke about this with one of my complete OG subscribers here. the 0.31 here. You imagine you have leverage bought Bitcoin down here, right at the dollar. No other strategy will give you this type of entry. You'd have caught here this massive move. Not only you'd have caught it, but you have caught it to the dollar here before Bitcoin ripped to the upside. Absolutely insane why the 0.31 works so well. Then we made another high here. So we need to readjust the fib. We always want to have the fib to the highest high. Then Bitcoin made another higher high here. Once again, we can see here. Perfect touch of the 0.31. We can see weekly candle closed above. Yes, we wicked through it slightly, but we want to pay attention to the weekly candles. Bitcoin had an amazing bounce to the upside. Of course, then back, yes, here we violated a bit. But my point is, more or less, if you continue to buy at the 0.31 Fibonacci, it's very difficult to lose. Of course, this is not financial advice. This is just looking into the past, how the 0.31 has worked. And something I just want to cover quickly, price is not going to always retrace to the 0.31. Otherwise, the market would basically look like this. At some point, market will violate the 0.31 before it goes to the upside. So as you know, we draw it always from the lows to the highs, but at some point, it's going to get violated. But my point is, on these macro charts, if you keep buying the 0.31, you basically are going to do better than 99% of market participants. So this kind of strategy you won't find for free on YouTube. This is a Fibonacci I've developed myself. I just want to share with you guys here. Of course, I teach more about this inside the Discord, but I want to share why I love the 0.31. And we can see this happening right before our eyes once again here, from the bear market lows to the bull market top here on the normal chart. So far, this is also an important level. It's not the same level we spoke about here on the log scale. So let's come back on the log scale here. Just, I don't want to confuse you guys, but on the log scale, we're speaking about from the fourth wave here to the all-time highs. So, which is slightly higher. This fib is at 85.5k, as I said. But this is the linear chart from the bear market lows to the bull market top. So we're still holding above that. So if for some reason Bitcoin start breaking 80k, that would be a very big warning sign. But at the moment, it's hard for me to flip bearish here because we are holding support very strongly here. So that's kind of my outlook at the moment. Let's jump quickly into the stock market. Something we covered, I basically covered this in every video, but I want to cover it once again. We guys know right now Bitcoin is a risk-on asset. So as long as the stock market continues to the upside, so will Bitcoin. So I'll continue to repeat this. All eyes on the stock market. We need to see the stock market forming some kind of low here, chopping around and continue to the upside. Because if the stock market is crashing, then it's time to call tops for Bitcoin. But at the moment, I do think, I'm still of the opinion that Bitcoin is lagging behind. I do think Bitcoin is somewhere in this neighborhood, basically, that we're back here in September, August. And as long as the stock market doesn't even need to go much higher, as long as the stock market can continue to chop around here, I do think we have a lot of potential for Bitcoin to reverse and start heading back to around 100k, maybe even higher than that. But of course, the stock market is going to determine a lot about Bitcoin. So I do think it's not only important to look at what Bitcoin is doing, we need to look overall at the macroeconomics, look at the news that are driving the stock market and so on, because the stock market is extremely important. And as you guys know, I have this extreme high target on the stock market, which if we're going to get to 7,000, we're going to hit my macro pitchfork, the stock market needs to start pumping very, very quickly, because if it just continues to go sideways here, the target is going to be quite insane. I don't think stock market can go all the way to 7,708k. I think it's unrealistic from current price. The stock market will have to go another 30-40%, which I do think it's highly unrealistic. So I do think if we're going to get to this median line, is now or never for the stock market. If we start correcting here, I just don't see how the stock market can reach this median line ever again. So we need to do it very, very quickly. So I'm going to keep this monitored. Stock market, very, very important. If the stock market for some reason starts crashing, of course, Bitcoin is going to follow. So very important at the moment to pay attention to the stock market. Then, of course, I want to look at the open interest here on Bitcoin. Let's refresh the page here. What's the open interest doing? So at the moment, let's use the 6-hour chart here. We can see Bitcoin is pumping like crazy. Something I don't love to see too much. We can see the leverage in the market is spiking as well. So this tells me when these news-driven pumps happen, there's a lot of FOMO that's happening in the market, a lot of leverage entering the market. So just something to be cautious here. So basically, we can come here back on our shorter time frame chart here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is absolutely pumping here like crazy. So this means I do think, let me add back my pitchfork here. So this was the pitchfork we spoke about here on Bitcoin. So this pitchfork here, as I said, I do think this target is going to get reached, but as I said, I don't think we're going to go there overnight. Of course, anything is possible, but this tells me that this pump most likely is going to get retraced. We're going to continue to pump here maybe to 90k, but I do think we're going to retrace here, reset the open interest before we go to the median line. So I think something like this can happen. So be careful if you're foaming into longs here, because we can see open interest is spiking. We'd like this to come down a little bit. We can also zoom in here on the 2 hour. Let's see. If we come here on the 2 hour time frame, yeah, we can see a nice little spike in the open interest. Of course, once Bitcoin goes higher, the open interest is always going to follow Bitcoin. So it's impossible to get a rally without the open interest spiking. But just something to be aware. It's nothing major, not a big spike here, but nevertheless, it's a spike here. So just be careful here while trying to ride these pumps to the upside. Just be aware that they can retrace. Even though as I'm speaking, Bitcoin is just absolutely blasting through here. So let's see, maybe we reach this median line quicker than I expected, but 94k is my next target, sitting long and strong here. Something else we can look at is the liquidation heat map. Nothing too much to say. Let's zoom in here on the two week time frame. There's not much liquidity here overall. We swept a lot of liquidity. This was the resistance we spoke about here. Bitcoin just ripped through the liquidity. The next liquidity is way up here at 95k, 100k. So at the moment, I can't comment too much about the liquidity. We have a lot of liquidity above us. So let's see here if we can get some nice impulsive moves to the upside. But at the moment, Bitcoin just swept a lot of liquidity here. Open interest slightly spiking. So something tells me that this move is going to retrace, even though we are bullish here. So just be aware Bitcoin could do something like that. Then we can look to re-enter here before the next leg higher. So these are the most important things at the moment. Something else I want to talk about is Ethereum. I did open a long on Ethereum, which we caught yesterday if you were in the live stream. If you didn't watch the live stream, you can still watch it. It's up on the channel. So Ethereum had very interesting pitchfork here on the daily. We spoke about this pitchfork back here in February when I said most likely Ethereum has bottomed here. Right now, it looks like Ethereum got a double bottom here. We're using the highs here in March last year. Then we had the lows here in August, and then the recent highs we had in December. So we can see the algorithms like to buy at the median lines. That's why we never want to underestimate the median lines. And as we spoke about yesterday as well, if we zoom in here, we had very nice confluence, or not confluence, but we had very nice 6 red daily candles in a row on Ethereum, and it looked like sellers were losing momentum here. That's why I opened along here, and right now Ethereum is doing very well here. Of course, there are some warning signs on Ethereum. Another chart I also wanted to show you here, basically, which I posted here in the VIP yesterday. So for the VIP members, we had two charts we're looking at. We're looking at this chart here, which I just showed you, and then we're looking at an even bigger chart, which is on the weekly. So this is using the previous bull market top on Ethereum, the recent bear market lows, and then the recent highs. And we had Ethereum again at support. So that's the reason why I notified here my VIP members. I said I'm opening along here with my entry, my stop loss, my take profit here, everything ahead of time. I let the VIP members know. So that's also a reason why I opened along on Ethereum. This is the second pitchfork as I spoke about. So if we come here on the weekly chart, so let's just remove this one for a second and come back on the weekly chart. We can see the double support on Ethereum. So you come here on the normal chart, we use the weekly chart. We need three pivots. You need the highest high, the lowest low, and then you need the recent highs, which was, I believe, these highs here. So let's see. We pull the pitchfork here, the highest high, the lowest low, and then the recent highs here. And we can see here for a second time, Ethereum is testing the median line, and we're getting a bounce. Of course, this is a second time touch, so there's a possibility Ethereum breaks through this. If Ethereum would break through this, we'd just switch the log scale, and this would give us a much lower target for Ethereum at around 1,700. So if for Ethereum start heading lower, I'll look to re-enter at 1,700. But as of for now, Ethereum is holding support. We can see the same pattern repeated before we made this high here. So we can see the same pitchfork predicted the previous Ethereum low here. So we use the highest high here. We can see once again how these median lines predict these macro lows basically before then Ethereum had this big move to the upside. So we're basically just looking into history and using the exact same tools that we know that algorithms are using. We made another high here, and then we need to readjust the pitchfork. So instead of using this pitchfork here, we need to switch this high to this high here, and we can see Ethereum has found macro support. I'm not really calling macro lows here on Ethereum. I'm just sharing you guys. I am long Ethereum at the moment because we also need to take a look at the Ethereum against Bitcoin chart, which actually looking good here. We covered this in yesterday's live. We're still testing this median line here for a second time. So right now, the risk to reward on Ethereum is very, very good. If in fact I'm correct, if Ethereum start breaking below this median line, I'll be wrong, and most likely Ethereum is just gonna die out and go much lower, and I'll be completely wrong. But at the moment, you guys know I've been saying that I do expect Ethereum to start outperforming Bitcoin here. So I do think we can see something like this in the upcoming weeks, upcoming months on Ethereum against Bitcoin. So my bullish stance on Ethereum here hasn't remained. I do think Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin, and it looks like we're going to get a bullish weekly candle close here on Ethereum, which is very, very interesting. So guys, I covered the most important things. I hope I didn't talk too much. I do get very passionate here. Bitcoin actually absolutely doing crazy here while I'm recording it. So pay attention to this. I love to see it. Pay attention to this median line here. This is absolutely crazy, guys, as I'm recording this, which is pumping here. Make sure to hit the likes, guys. Make sure to subscribe for the daily updates. I'll keep you guys updated tomorrow here with our next resistance level here. Bitcoin looking absolutely amazing at the moment, but pay attention to 94.5k here. It's going to be very, very strong resistance. I love you all, guys. Make sure you are inside the Discord. I'll be keeping you updated there daily and hourly. I'm there very active. See you again, guys, tomorrow. Have a nice Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah. You come for the king, then you best not miss. Only fools try to counter trade the Cobra's hits. Going long from the bottom, short from the top, with medium precision. He just don't stop. Going long from downtown, from the 031. Target smash, TP out, and the Cobra's done. Snake and bake, King Cobra. Snake and bake, King Cobra. King Cobra. Snake and bake, King Cobra. Bow down.